Are you looking to save time on your practice workflows? If so, then you've come to the right place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining in the world today. For those that don't know me, my name is Daniel Hustler, and I look after education here at Xero for the Asia region, though I have worked across many different regions, including Australia and New Zealand as well. So welcome to this session, save time with Xero's practice tools. Now, as many of you would know, we have a number of practice products available. Some of you may have seen some of these tools, others may have not. And the purpose of this session is to give you an overview over what these tools are, to provide you with a quick demo of some of the key features, and also show you how they connect together. Now, this webinar is for accountants and bookkeepers that are on the Xero Partner Program. But if you're not an accountant or bookkeeper, and if you're not on the Partner Program, then don't worry, you're still welcome to stay and learn. Now, just in terms of what's on the agenda for today, we are going to give you an oversight over what Xero's practice tools are and how they connect together through a live demo. We'll also walk through some of our more recent updates that we've made for our more experienced users. We'll also cover some of the amazing practice apps that are available, which will take your workflows even further. And then we'll actually finish off with some next steps. Now, the practice products that Xero has includes Xero Practice Manager. This is in green in the top right, and this is to manage jobs, to track time, convert them to invoices quickly, and report on practice performance. Xero HQ, which you can see on the bottom left, is to manage queries, report templates, customize chart of account templates, and document packs, which are available in some of our regions. And also Xero Tax, which is available in Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, where you can populate the returns and file directly with the local tax authority. We're living in a very digital era, 2023. Digital technologies are embedded in every aspect of our personal life, so we should look at using these types of technologies in our business life as well. In fact, using tools like these is a common trend that we see among many high-performing firms. Now, you will also see work papers in red on the screen as well. We won't cover work papers today, but this is another tool which is available. Now, I do like to keep my sessions fairly interactive, just a little bit of fun. So I've got a quick poll for you. And don't worry, it's completely anonymous. You should see it appear on your screen any moment now. Oops, sorry, wrong poll. Let me go back and launch the first poll. So keen to understand, what tools does your practice use? Do you use Xero Practice Manager? Do you use Xero HQ? Ask. Do you use the report templates? Do you use Xero Tax for Australia, New Zealand, or the United Kingdom? Do you use some of the practice apps that are available? Or do you just use absolutely none of these? We've got a lot of answers coming through. Choose as many as you would like. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and end that poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I will share the results. So you can see that Xero Practice Manager is coming in very high. So obviously this is something that many of the peers in your industry like to use. Nearly half of you are using Xero Practice Manager. Report templates also coming in very strong, as well as Xero Tax. But we can also see that we've got a lot of partners joining the call today where you're just not using any of these. So hopefully you should see some really great features in this webinar. Now, it's all of these tools connect together with different areas of the Xero platform, and they'll get even closer together in the future. Some of you may have heard about that single client record across Xero Practice Manager, Xero HQ, and Xero Tax, which you'll hear more about later on in the webinar. Now, to illustrate how these tools work and some of the enhancements that we've made, we'll use a case study. So meet Tyler from LIFO the Party Event Management. He's super fun. He puts on the best parties in town. Now, the practice that I work at for this case study is Amity Island Accounts. And I've been working with Tyler for quite a while now. And while Tyler does organize the best parties in town, he's not the best when it comes to the financial year end. In fact, last year took quite a bit of work. Last year, when I logged into his accounts, the expectation that I hoped for was a little bit like this. Woohoo! How good is that big green tick? Everything is reconciled. The endorphins are rushing through the brain. All is well. But the reality when I logged into his account for year end was a little bit more like this. Oh no, 7,000 plus line items to reconcile. I can hear some groans coming through the computer screen. If this is something that resonates with any of you, then please let me know by clicking that raise hand link, which you should see on your Zoom toolbar. And we've already got everyone raising their hands. I know I absolutely dislike that scenario as well. Or how about this one? When we ask clients for information, the expectation or that dream state that we so strongly desire is a little bit like this. That perfect paperless desk. Files are digital, they're clear, they're accurate, all is well. But as we know, the reality is a little bit more like this. Oh no, that dreaded shoebox of receipts. Hopefully they're not faded or crumbled. Now, again, if this resonates with any of you, then let me know by clicking that raise hand link, which you should see on your Zoom toolbar. And it looks like many people on the call today are getting those shoebox of receipts. With that in mind, let's take a look at how using Xero's practice tools can streamline that year-end process for this year. Now, it's important to note that when doing this demo, it will be from the perspective of a staff member preparing the work. So I'm going to act as the staff member. But if you are a director or a partner in the firm, then I would encourage you to think about how using features like this can really bring about efficiency to your practice as a whole. And we'll get started with Xero HQ. Here we have a record of all of the clients of our practice, including some of those that are not already on Xero. I've actually customized this particular screen to keep an eye on the unreconciled items. So that way I'm staying on top. And we can see here that Abby has been a little bit slack in reconciling. Now, to save time this year, I'll actually bulk reconcile all of these 200 statement lines in one go through cache coding. But next year, I'm going to spend my time training Abby or training those clients that just need a little bit more help in the bank reconciliation. Now, we did see earlier that I did mention earlier that we have a feature called Xero Ask in Xero HQ. Now, I'm sure that many of us don't like chasing clients for information. And thankfully, Xero Ask saves us time in that process. Now, in this case, a senior staff member has set up a template called the year-end checklist. But I have also another template set up called the client survey. And I can actually use this year-end checklist and send it to my client base. So in this case, I'm going to use this template. And again, I can send this questionnaire to all of the clients that I work with if I want to. But in this case, since I'm just focused on Tyler, I'll just send it through to Life of the Party Event Management. Now, you can see here that it has populated with the questionnaire that a senior staff member had set up earlier. Now, if you ever ask your client for, let's say, a file, so if you ever ask your client for a file and they reply yes, but haven't actually attached the file, then can you let me know by clicking that raise hand link that you should see on your Zoom toolbar? So again, it looks like many of us are clicking that particular raise hand. Now, one of the things I love about Xero HQ Ask is the fact that you can choose what type of answer you want to receive. So if you want to receive a file attachment, then you can choose that as the option that your client must respond with. Now, I can preview how this template will appear to my client if I want to. They'll need to log in through a secure portal. They'll get this through an email, and then they can reply with all of the relevant information. In this case, I'm going to send this query off. The email will be auto-populated for me, and then I can send that query off to the client. Now, the other good thing as well is think about how much time, if you are a manager in the firm, then think about how much time this can save your practice as a whole, because only one person needs to set up the template. From there, it can be used by all people in the practice. They can tweak it to suit each client if they need to. And you can also choose what type of answer you want to receive. So that way you don't get a text response if you ask for a bank statement. Now, on top of that, if a staff member does go on leave, and if you are a manager, then you'll be able to follow up with and view all of the queries of the practice and continue the work if needed. But of course, chasing clients for information is just one step in the financial year end. We want to supercharge our workflows across the whole end-to-end experience. Now, our poll earlier showed that close to half of you were using Xero Practice Manager. This is Xero Practice Manager. It's our practice management tool for assigning work to staff, tracking and invoicing time, reporting on practice performance, and it connects with the rest of the practice suite. So we'll take a look at how it works for those who haven't used it yet, but we'll also show some more recent updates that we've made for our more experienced users. Now, the first feature that I want to highlight here is the Clients tab. This has historically been kept separate from the records in Xero HQ. Now, this often resulted in the two client lists not matching unless you double handled the data. But we're putting that behind us. Right now, any practice that signs up to Xero Practice Manager will now have a single client record across our practice tools. Our practice, so this one here, has a single client record across Xero Practice Manager, Xero HQ, and Xero Tax. And what I mean by that is if we were to update one of these clients, then the same updates would be reflected in Xero HQ as well, as long as there is a matching field. Now, for those who have been using Xero Practice Manager or Australia and New Zealand tax for a while now, and if you don't yet have that client record, then we are actually working through that process. So if you would like to find out more about how to get that single client record and also to register for one of our upcoming webinars, then check out the link to the course that I've just posted in that chat box right now, and that's where you can find out more. And for those that have been using Xero Practice Manager for a while now, did you know that you can now reuse contacts? So that means that if you have a contact that relates to multiple clients, you don't need to create a record each and every time. So in this case, we have Anna the bookkeeper. We can see that Anna is working for a number of clients that we work with. So she's doing the bookkeeping for these ones. Maybe she can help Tyler with his reconciliation moving forward as well. Now, the next screen that I want to show you is the new look job manager. So I'll go to the job manager now. And this is where we can essentially see and manage all of our jobs. And we can see that we have a number of filters and columns available. I might just zoom in for you. So we can see that we have a number of filters and columns. And I would suggest that you use these filters and columns to show different information depending on your role. Now, for those that are managers on the webinar today, it gives a really good oversight over your team's workload, including any jobs that need to be allocated and checking the WIP on each job. As you can see, we have also added a number of new columns, such as staff assigned, manager assigned, and partner assigned. On top of that, sorry, let me zoom out a bit. We have also added the ability to carry out some bulk actions. So towards the left, you can see we can actually bulk update many of these jobs in just a few clicks. So we can change the staff members, the managers, partner assigned, etc., etc. So again, just allowing you to make those changes far more quickly. But as I said earlier, you'll want to use the screen to show more or less information depending on your role. In this case, as a staff member, I want to filter by the job state, which is planned, and the staff member, which is me, because I'm only interested in the work that I need to do rather than keeping track of everything on a notepad. We can see we've got the annual tax compliance for 2023. My manager has marked it as urgent. So I'm going to make a start on this and update it from planned through to in progress. So again, it just means that I don't need to keep track of everything on a written notepad. Now from here, I can enter time against the job if I want to do that. There are many different ways to enter time against a job. This includes a nice timer icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. But in the meantime, I'm going to switch gears, and we're just going to make a start on the first task for the year end, which is around the financial year-end reports. So I'm going to head away from Xero Practice Manager now. And I'm going to show you what we call report templates. When it comes to the financial year end, one of the key practice tools that you'll want to use are the Xero report templates. We won't spend too much time on this because we actually have a dedicated webinar for this coming up as part of Education Month. But for those that haven't used it before, it's essentially where you can set up practice-wide sets of reports that are used for all of your clients that are similar. And as we saw on the poll, close to 30% of us are already actively using those report templates. Now, you could set up year-end report templates for your company clients. You could set up year-end report templates for your not-for-profit clients, or even management report templates for different industries and verticals. So as you can see, I've set up a number of templates listed here. And in each of these templates, the bulk of the customization has already been done. So let's say 90% or 95% that can be used across my clients. You only have to create these templates once in Xero HQ. And then from then on, every person in the practice can run that template across each of their clients. And we'll take a look at that in a moment, but for the meantime, let's actually go ahead and run it for LIFO the Party event management. So I'm going to search for LIFO. And we've got it listed here. We can see that Tyler still has some unreconciled items, which we'll want to reconcile before we run the template. So I'm just going to go through to Xero. And then I'll go through to the bank reconciliation screen. Now, if we look at this particular screen, we can see that all of his statement lines so far appear to relate to bank rules. Rather than clicking OK one by one, I'm going to use cache coding instead. Now, if you ever run into a situation where you have many statement lines to reconcile or cache transactions, then I would recommend using cache coding because this allows you to reconcile up to 200 statement lines in one go. In this case, all of the data has already been pre-filled since it does relate to a bank rule. So I'm just going to click Save and Reconcile All. And that will reconcile my 50 statement lines in just a few seconds. Okay, so that's done. Now, of course, as part of the year-end process, there would be other tasks that I would do. This would include fixing up any miscoded transactions through find and recode. Again, I can bulk fix many transactions. It would include posting those manual journals. And it would also include maybe reviewing the new general ledger exceptions report. But let's assume that we've already done that and we're ready to prepare the year-end financials for LIFO the Party event management. In this case, I'm going to go through to the reporting screen, and under the advisor menu, I'm actually going to find that template which someone in my practice had set up earlier in Xero HQ and can now be used across all of the company clients for the practice. Now, as we all know, in terms of our groupings of clients, many of their reporting requirements will be the same. So let's say 90%, 95%, that's just a rough guesstimate. Now, the bulk of the work has already been done in Xero HQ, and all of these changes and customization has flowed through. We can see we've got all of our reports auto-populated for us. And since Tyler is using Xero to manage his day-to-day bookkeeping, it's removed that entire process of exporting trial balance data from a different accounting system and then importing it into our own practice reporting system. So this is one of the ways on how report templates save time. Not only does the bulk of the customization get done in Xero HQ and then can be used across and scaled across your entire client base, but for clients that are also using Xero, the data gets pre-filled because it's already using that Xero trial balance data. So again, all of these have already been auto-populated for us. When we're happy with this, we can go ahead and publish it, which I'll go ahead and do now. I'll add a watermark and then save it as final. So that way it's always visible. From here, I'm also going to go ahead and add it to a document pack that I had set up earlier, and we'll actually send this off to Tyler shortly as well. So you'll see more on document packs shortly. So we've done the financial year-end templates. We're now going to make a switch and go over to Xero Practice Manager. Xero Tax, which is a feature that is available to our Australia, New Zealand, and UK audience. So we can see at the top that Xero Tax is already built into Xero Practice Manager. Now, this particular feature is used to auto-populate tax returns from the client organization, which you can then file with the local tax authority. And just a reminder, it's available for Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Now, if I click into the job, we can see here that we've actually got a tax return listed here. So I'm going to click into that tax return. Now, this is the Australian version of Xero Tax. If you're joining from New Zealand, the screen might look a little bit different, but many of the benefits are still very similar or very much the same. What we have listed right here is the 2023 income tax return for LIFO the party event management. A couple of really key benefits include the fact that we make available to you all of the relevant tax returns each and every year. So that way you and your staff don't need to figure that out. And also the import from Xero link in the top right-hand corner of the screen. I'm going to click that link, and that's going to take me through to a mapping screen where I can map the detail of what is in Xero to the relevant tax fields. Now, this isn't our first tax return, which is why the details have already been automatically mapped for our trial balance. You only need to map any new accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and click import. And how beautiful is that? Our tax return has auto-populated with all of the relevant data from Xero. So we can see here, like the details have been pre-filled. AU Tax has a feature where we can compare this year's figures next to last year's figures. So again, this is just really handy, particularly for new staff, where they might want to see that comparison to identify any red flags. And when we're happy with it, we can just go ahead and have it reviewed by the manager. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and add it to the document pack. Okay, I'm just running into a little bit of an error. If you can bear with me for one moment. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add that to the document pack that I had earlier. Now, so in terms of Xero document packs, this again is available to our Australia and New Zealand bookkeeping partners and accountants, Australia and New Zealand accountants and bookkeepers. And it can be used to send documents over to our clients to get an e-signature. We do have a quick link to open up the pack. It's going to contain all of the documents that we've added to the pack earlier, which included those financial year-end statements, as well as the tax returns. We can also choose to upload any other documents if we wish to from here. I'm going to continue ahead and send this off to Tyler for e-signature. And again, this just makes the process of getting those e-signatures so much easier because we don't have to wait for Tyler to print off a form. It can be very easily done electronically. Now, we're actually getting very close towards the end of the webinar. So just to recap what we covered, Xero Practice Manager, this is a great practice management tool. Xero HQ, this has some really awesome features there, such as Xero Ask, report templates, and document packs. And Xero Tax, available in Australia and New Zealand and the United Kingdom, saves time populating those returns, and you can also file it directly with the local tax authority. But on top of that, there are many other practice apps available that can supercharge your workflows even further. So before we finish up the webinar, I thought I'd just quickly cover what these apps are. Reporting apps like Sift and Expert provide awesome insights, data accuracy checks, and multi-entity consolidation. Data collection apps such as HubDoc can extract key data from documents like invoices. Power BI tools like Dashboard Insights help you to get more visibility over your business operations. When it comes to payment collection, as we know, too many practices probably spend too much time chasing payments. So why not use an online payment app instead, like Go Cardless or Stripe? And finally, there are practice-specific apps like Suite Files out there, which cover document management and build even further on Xero Practice Manager's workflow features. Before we level you with some final next steps, let me leave you with this thought. How can we become the practice that would put us out of business? If another practice opened down the road and they put some of this into effect, then what would it look like? What apps would they use? What tools would they use to really supercharge their workflows and also deliver those world-class experiences for their clients? So let us just leave you with that thought. But in the meantime, we do have some final next steps. The first is, if you are interested in any of these practice tools, then I would say it's worth having a conversation with your account manager, find out a little bit more from them around these practice tools. But essentially, that does bring us to the end of the webinar. If you do have any questions, please continue to post them in the Q&A box, and our team will do our best to answer any questions that you may have. But if you don't have any questions, feel free to drop off, and we hope to see you at another webinar at some stage in the future.